welcome each and every one of you to this X39 and X49 Zoom. It's really brought to you by LifeWave, but even more specifically, I'm not LifeWave. I'm an independent brand partner for LifeWave. My name is Danny McDaniel, and I'm happy to be your host tonight. I live here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The first thing I want to do is make sure that you're reading this disclaimer, because you're going to hear some testimonies tonight. And testimonies are a direct reflection of people's personal stories, their heartfelt stories that are absolutely 100% true. And we don't treat or cure any diseases. We don't heal illnesses or anything like that. LifeWave phototherapy patches do not heal or cure people. They have a very specific structure function that has nothing to do with healing your body. God designed your body to heal itself. And so the LifeWave phototherapy patches are designed to do things that are based on science, built on science, that help the body do what it's supposed to do. So you can consult your healthcare professional or doctor for advice regarding treatments, or anything regarding sickness or disease. So you're here tonight to hear about the company LifeWave and the patches that we have at LifeWave. So once again, my name's Danny McDaniel, and I'm a third generation high school football coach, live here in Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas. I've coached on the middle school level, coached on the high school level, coached 1 year on the collegiate level, coached running backs at Tarleton State University. I want to give a shout out to any Tarleton State folks that are on this Zoom tonight, because I know they are, and happy to have you on here. And also I want to preface it a little bit to help you know our backgrounds, because you're going to hear from two sports experts tonight, a doctor and a sports medicine expert who's been in that industry for over 30 years on a high level. And he's at Rice University. You're going to meet Dean Miller here in a few minutes. But as far as your host, where me being your main host tonight, I'm not just a high school football coach, but my father was huge, and my dad was my hero. And my dad raised me to always be cutting edge in the area of nutrition, supplementation, and really sports specific training and human performance and elite track performance. That's how I was raised, and that's how I was trained. And so that's how my career went. But even getting out of that, I raised 3 Division I college football players. They were all running backs, and one was a professional running back. And I'm saying that for a reason, because in raising 3 Division I football players and professional football players, we're helping our kids, achieve their dreams. And in doing so, that took us, my wife and I, searching for the best nutrition for their bodies that we could afford, and the best supplementation, the best recovery devices from anywhere throughout North America. We wanted the best recovery you could possibly find. And we didn't always find that in the athletic training room. Ice and muscle stim is not the answer for athletes. I'm just telling you that right now. Our science goes way beyond ice and muscle stim. And so I knew that many, many years ago. And so I've been chasing the greatest recovery devices on the planet for over 20 years. And have found some amazing, miraculous devices out there to help an athlete get on the field and stay on the field and perform at their peak level. And not only that, it was finding the best trainers. My son's trained out in Orange County for arguably, the best human performance coach in North America in Orange County. And so I'm saying we're really serious. We were always serious about the approach with athletes and human performance. So just a little bit about the boys I raised, just so you know. My first one played at the University of Notre Dame. He was Texas High School Football Player of the Year, and he was a captain of the football team, played in a national championship, unfortunately, against Alabama that year at Notre Dame. And he also played in the CFL for 2 years and helped the Toronto Argonauts win a Grey Cup in the CFL as well. Cam was the team captain, NFL, and Notre Dame's leading rusher as well. My middle son, Gavin, went out to the University of Washington and played there for 3 years, had a devastating knee injury that really set him back in his Division I, hopes. And he transferred to Division II school, Azusa Pacific, and finished there. Just an amazing athlete, an amazing young man. Then my third one, TJ McDaniel, played football at SMU. He was a Texas high school phenom, one of the best players, if not the best player in the state of Texas, his junior and his senior year. And he just lit it up and wound up playing at SMU. You're going to hear more from him in just a moment. And so with that said, here's the thing. You're going to hear tonight Oops, you're going to hear tonight about the X30. We're here to talk to you about the X39 stem cell activation patches and the X49 stem cell activation patches. Now, these and my friend Dr. Tory is going to tell you about those patches. But this is why you're here, because when you see what you're about to see and hear what you're about to hear, it all relates to how prolific these patches are. We believe that this right here, the X39, could possibly be the most prolific regenerative health technology of our lifetimes. Now, that may seem like a bold statement, but when you actually get to know LifeWave and you get to know what these patches really do, this little patch right here, because this sleek looking sleeve right here, what comes out of there is a sleeve, not only your pamphlet on how to wear the patches, which are really simple. You stick it on, wear it for 12 hours a day, but here's the X39 sleeve, and the sleeve indicates it's a month's supply of patches. So in this sleeve are 30 of these. So you just peel the perforation back and you have just a stick-on patch. But it's not just a stick-on patch. It's way more than that. We believe it truly is the most scientifically advanced thing on the planet today for the human body. And I believe we can validate that. The science validates that. And you're going to be impressed by that. So one thing that's really before we move on, well, let me also tell you this. There's also these two you're going to hear tonight. These two right here, X39 and X49, just to prepare you for later on. They also come in what's called a performance bundle, where both of these sleeves are in here for a price break. So an athlete can get both of them together in the performance bundle. So that's what we're preparing you, your heart and your mind, to hear about tonight. Now, one thing that impresses me about LifeWave and the X39 and specifically and the X49 is that these patches are on the level where we've got enough science to make your head spin. We've got enough science to absolutely impress Elon Musk to the max. Or if Nikola Tesla was alive, Nikola Tesla would give it a 5-star rating and check the box and say, this is amazing. In fact, did you steal this from me? Thomas Edison, if he saw the research on this, he would be blown away by it. So you're not going to have a problem with the research. There's enough research to make your head spin. There's 5,000 independent double-blind clinical studies that validate the positive effects on the human body of phototherapy alone. Not LifeWave patches, but just phototherapy. In regards to these patches, there's over 80 independent double-blind clinical studies that validate the science and the effectiveness of the LifeWave phototherapy patches. And when it comes to the X39, there's 70 global patents centered around this patch right here. And so I'm going to let my good friend, Dr. Tory, tell you about that in just a moment. But what I want to show you now is a couple of slides before I hand it to my good doctor friend. And that's it. This patch is being used by, Olympic athletes and professional athletes all over the world. And the patches LifeWave patches have actually been used since 2004 with Michael Phelps in the Olympic Games in 2004. Now, these aren't endorsers. These are just people who freely use the patch because they know what it does. And we're going to teach you what it does. Mike Tyson, he wears this patch because he knows what it does and he needs it for his age. RFK wears the X39 patch. He knows what it does. Billy Etbauer, Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, saddle bronc rider, and he's also in the Rodeo Hall of Fame. He's a legend. I heard at the National Finals Rodeo here just a couple of months ago that he couldn't walk 2 feet in Las Vegas without people stopping him, taking his picture, and getting autographs. Like, literally, that's what one of our friends said, that this guy, if people in the rodeo world see his face, he can't even move. Ryder Carpenter, who's now in the National Cutting Horse Hall of Fame, uses LifeWave patches. And these guys are passionate about sharing it with the rodeo world. Dusty Tuckness, who's a 10 times PRCA Bullfighter of the Year, wears the LifeWave patches because if anyone gets their body beat up, it's the guy fighting the bull. This is the top bullfighter in the world. And 16-time WNFR bullfighter. This guy's ridiculous. So if you want to validate that the patches work, put it on the guy that's probably in the world of sports that gets beat up the most. So that's Dusty Tuckness. There's people from professional baseball, people from the tennis world, people from the Olympic world, even many athletes wore it in the past. The patches in the last Olympics. So you've just got a plethora of professional athletes and Olympic athletes that have been wearing these patches, and they're not endorsers and they don't get paid. They just know what these patches do. So really, there's no one. Let me tell you what happened to me real quick. I got on these patches 2 years ago in December. I had a frozen shoulder and it was completely locked up, and there was discomfort shooting through my shoulders every night. And I could not, I was a one-arm man. Really, I could only use my left arm, my non-dominant arm. Everything was one-handed. And guys, if y'all know, if you only had one arm, you would know the pain of that. Well, I get a call from a friend, got on the patches, and in 6 days, my shoulder started unlocking. Over the next, and discomfort started leaving. Over the next 5 months, my shoulder got completely healed. This patch did not heal me. My body healed itself. And in about 4 months, I quit having to get up at night to go to the restroom. So my 2 trips to the bathroom ended. Didn't even know that was going to be one of the incredible benefits of wearing the patch. I just wanted my frozen shoulder healed. Well, not only that, 8 months in, I didn't need glasses to drive anymore. Didn't need glasses to watch college football games or to drive at night. And my gray hair started turning brown again, still getting browner. Never have put color in my hair at all. I quit snoring, had less wrinkles, started reverse aging. Floaters went away in my eye. At the 12-month mark, I quit wearing reading glasses, and I haven't worn glasses of any kind, reading glasses, in over a year. So the patches have absolutely changed my life. They changed my wife's life, my daughter-in-law's life. It's impacted my sons and relatives. It's just amazing what the patches have done. So here's where I'm going to set up Dr. Tory Brooks. Here's the problem that we're going to address with you tonight, and why the X39 and the X49 is going to be your solution. By the time you're 30 years old, half of your stem cells already have become dormant. Why do you think the NFL kind of gets tired of someone at the age of 30? You know, there's exceptions like a Tom Brady, but most athletes don't last far beyond 30 years old. And the NFL has always known that, but they probably didn't know it was because half of their stem cells are dormant. So they can't perform as well. They don't recover as well. They're not as fast. Things start breaking down. Well, by the time you're 60, almost 90% of your stem cells are dormant. So now look at what life is like. I mean, that's just crazy. Well, what if you had the first thing on the planet that you could put on your body with no contraindications, it's non-transdermal, not a supplement, not a drug, that can actually reactivate your dormant stem cells? And there's no one better to tell you about that than my 2 friends, Dr. Tory Brooks and Dean Miller. So I want to introduce you tonight to my good friend, Dr. Tory Brooks. And I'm very quickly, let me tell you who he is. He's a chiropractic sports physician. I've known Dr. Tory and Dean Miller for over 25 years. Dr. Tory has been the personal chiropractic sports physician for well over 100 NBA athletes, well over 30 NFL athletes, well over 20 Major League Baseball players, many Olympic athletes, and several gold medalists, Heisman Trophy winners, Cy Young winners in baseball, Outland Trophy winners, Major League All-Stars, NBA All-Stars, NFL All-Pros. He's worked on them all, like hundreds of them. There's not many chiropractic sports physicians in the nation that have that kind of resume, but Dr. Tory does. So I want to hand it to Dr. Tory to tell all of you on here tonight, because there's people on this Zoom that are from, we know that there's people from the collegiate institutions on here tonight. There's training staffs on here. There's people in sports medicine on here. And so you need these guys to tell you more about the X39. Dr. Tory, it's all yours.
Danny, thanks for the intro. I tell you what, this guy right here is the future. It's one of those deals that every former athlete on this call wishes they had when they were playing back in the day. Am I right, Danny? You wish you had it. And I tell you what, it has changed lives, not only on and off the field, but everybody in society. Now, just as Danny mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about the X49 and the X39. You combo these guys, and you've got something that's really systematic and it's synergistic. And so it's going to allow the body to heal faster. It's going to help with endurance. It's going to help with your strength and building lean muscle mass. And we're talking about recovery, because one thing to do something great one day, but you got to get up and do it again tomorrow. And so I love this patch because from a physician standpoint, I don't have to worry about if the patient or the person I'm sharing with is on certain type of medications or what their conditions are. These are non-transdermal, so there's no medication on them. Nothing's going into the bloodstream through the blood-brain barrier, nothing like that. It is a collection of organic proprietary ingredients that are forming in a certain situation in a lattice formation that creates a wavelength and a frequency that's going to reflect back into your body, coming from your own heat and infrared. So this is phototherapy. This is like you lying out in the sun and getting your vitamin D. Okay, the vitamin D, the sun doesn't have it, but it's in your body. It converts your cholesterol into some vitamin D, and that's how that works in your system. But this guy is powerful, and it's going to change lives. And I just love to hear all the testimonials from the athletes. My only regret that I have from this, I was introduced this about a month and a half before I retired, and by a good friend of mine. And he's a 47 years I've known this man. He's the head of sports medicine at Rice University. He's also assistant athletic director. He's the assistant basketball coach. And back in the day, when I was an athlete, we were pretty good. You know, I've known him since Pop Warner. We were number 4 in the nation at the time. And then a collection of us went over to this high school called De La Salle and made some noise over there and broke the world record for many years with undefeated. We went 13 years without losing a game. Made a movie about it called When the Game Stands Tall, and Jim Caviezel was our coach. Dean was right in the middle of that, firing all those athletes up and telling them who they are. And it was just an amazing situation that we had. So Dean also, while he was doing that, he was coaching college basketball. He has 19 world championships in motorsports, from motocross to MotoGP, the GP, and also from Indy cars. I'm telling you, he's a superhero. He's my superhero. So that's why I'm privileged to introduce him to you guys tonight. He's going to share with you some inside information about how it works in a collegiate atmosphere. So Dean Miller, welcome to the game.
Thank you, Tory. Appreciate you. You can hear me, right, guy?
We could hear you.
Awesome. Well, Tory, as usual, it's a extreme pleasure always to be hanging with you, because we don't get that much time together face to face anymore, which is a great thing. The things that we've accomplished, and you as well. Danny, your sons are phenomenal athletes. Can't say enough about watching them and be able to perform and do the things they've done in the years that we've spent together as well. And really, all these guys are the same from a perspective of, you want to get better, you want to improve, you want to find a way to get the job done, right? And I have the fortunate ability to not only be around great athletes, many of the ones that, I think at one time, Tory, we had the number 12 draft pick in the NBA, and the number 1, we're sitting in, where were we at? In Des Moines, Iowa, I can't remember. And we're sitting at the embassy suites, and we're watching those guys get drafted because we were working with those kinds of individuals. And today I would anticipate that both of them, if they had that opportunity with the issues that we were dealing with, they'd probably be still playing, if that makes sense. But that's how time goes on. My story individually with the patch came very simple, because I do know a lot of people, and involved with another company years ago. And Carrie Robertson called me up and said, "Hey, I got some stuff for your friend." And when she came, stopped by my office and said, "Hey, let's try this stuff." And it just happened to be within 2 weeks of me having to work the Final Four in 2022. And so I said, okay, let's give these things a shot. I signed up and said, let's take a look at it. Because when I traveled the world in racing, and it was one of those things, in 29 years, I was in a different country every week. So I had that great opportunity to steal anything I could find. And I was a thief when it came to health, medicine, performance, rehabilitation, whatever I could find anywhere, whether I was in the East, in China, Japan, Italy, South America, wherever I could find anything that someone was using, I was all about trying it. So I'm pretty easy. So if y'all got something, just, look me up on the website at Rice University and send it to me, because I'll probably try it for you. That's the easy way to go. And we are involved in a lot of research and stuff today, and we've been playing around with the patches for quite some time. But I jumped into the Final Four. I'm using the X39 and the 49. I'm alternating them 4 or 5 days, but it's really an 8-day process of setting up in those large arenas, being able to organize X-ray, move things in, set up training rooms and portable situations for 4 teams, 4 cold tubs. It was an amazing time, and you're working about 16, 17 hours a day. And I'm 72 years old now, so I was about age 70, 69 or 70 at the time. I still outwork everybody every day, but I'm wearing the patches constantly, and I think it's made a big difference for me. Some of the things I've noticed, same thing as you, Danny, my hair, it's almost white. It's got that color coming back. I think the biggest, disadvantage with those patches are the following. I got to go to the barber more often, cut my hair because it grows too fast now, right? Because that's an issue. But that's happened. My skin lacks, my tensibility. My skin is better. My brown liver spots that I had on my hands are leaving. Same on my face. Anything that I've had, they seem to be completely disappearing, which is better. I think 12 and a half years ago, I had one hip done. And then 6 years after that, I had another hip done. So I got two titanium hips and I couldn't touch my toes probably, but in about 6 months after using the patches, I can put my hands now flat just on the ground because it's just one of those things that happen. So as I started to find myself change, we started to introduce it with our athletes. And the biggest thing that we can say is the following, from a distance, you might find an attraction in somebody that's way off in the distance, right? And that's probably how I look at how I place the X39s under my navel or putting them on my C7 on my back or making that alternative with the two pads. But realistically, we started to find out that if I use those pads at a localized area where there's pain, where I need range of motion, symptomatic relief, whatever it might be, that the entire process of this bounce back creates three peptides that are very special with a copper bind to it. And not to get into what they are, leucine, glycine, and histidine, but there's 8 total amino acids. And amino acids are neurotransmitters as well. And neurotransmitters mean that they stimulate the brain, which makes everything down below work much better. And there's a much more recovery process as that goes on. So in some of our ACL rehabilitation, as an example, we started to find out that if we were using them locally in scar points and other areas, those scars started to heal quicker. Range of motion came back. Symptomatic pain relief was subsided. And therefore, you could do more range of motion. You could rehab much quicker. I'd love to be able to see what was going on in the depth, but those scars have a tendency to run flat instead of being real sticky. And I have a individual girl 5 weeks ago. She had an ACL. Her mother is a former athlete at Rice University. She's now on a board of trustees. And so she said, "Hey, we're running out of therapy appointments. Can we drop her in and have you take a look at her?" So I looked at her last Saturday. I used the X39 on her, right on that patella area where her most pain was. Because when they do a ACL, they take part of that patellar tendon from the patella and the bone on the top part of the tibia. They cut that loose and they rewire that inside. So they don't take the entire thing; they just take a strip of it. And she came back. Swelling is down today. I haven't seen her since Saturday. Pain relief is way down. Range of motion is better. Strength, her muscles are firing. So it does that. And that local perspective is as you look in the distance and you say, "Oh, how can I get things better?" And that might be things that are going on naturally in your body. But if you do have that bump, that bruise, that insect bite, whatever it might be, and you place that patch on top of it, I will guarantee you'll get a response and a relief of some sort that's going to give you some sort of a perspective of feeling better naturally.
That's awesome.
Now I'm going to wrap this up a little bit and let you guys know that what do I know about transdermal patches? Well, I worked in racing for a long time. I worked for a man named Don Panos. He invented the nicotine patch. He also invented a wax coating on antibiotics and things. He got involved in the race industry. Of course, he was a very heavy chain smoker because he was a billionaire and had a lot of stress in his life. And so we run around a few things. I was on Learjets with him in other places, but the interesting thing about it is we started talking about the nicotine patch that he had invented. He left Mylan Pharmaceuticals and jumped off in another area. And one thing he told me, he goes, "It's not about the chemical in there. It's about the infrared bounce of the heat that makes this thing work. And then it does drive the drug in, right?" So that infrared, we don't have any drug in these patches. That's the great thing about it. I think there's a variety of, patented perspectives that make this thing happen. But as it bounces back into the system, it's because that heat reflection allows it to come back in and create those three amino peptides that really hit and string straight to a copper peptide, and that copper picks it up, and then things start to stimulate, right? And that so-called relief that you get is unbelievable, and things change. Now, I will tell you this, the younger you are, I think that you get a quicker response at most times. The older you are, things maybe happen a little bit slower. I'm still on a few medications, but I'm lowering those levels and things are happening because about, 72 years will wear you down pretty heavily. So one thing I can tell people, the people I've talked to, is like, hey, give it time, let it work. It's going to work. Your entire body will find a way to make that happen for you because it's very natural. So just a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to work with Tory on this. Danny, we don't get to talk much. You're so darn busy doing videos and stuff these days. I can't keep up with you. But it's a pleasure to be here. And man, all I can say about these patches is 1,000% love them. Unbelievable.
Well,
Well, that's
Dean,
fantastic, Dean. We appreciate you sharing that tonight. We know from a science standpoint, you could talk for the next 45 minutes and do tremendous justice for everybody. But we have some testimonies we're going to hear from tonight too. So we're going to let these guys hear testimonies. But before we do, Dr. Tory, like tell these guys like the fast version of you and Dean both, because I have a $25,000 device in my room that my kids use through their college careers because it does miracles. And not everybody has 25 grand to drop on a device that can do miracles for an athlete to keep them on the field. You and Dean had a device that did miracles. Tell them your perspective on that and how the X39 has, caused you to put that on the shelf.
well, I tell you what, I mean, we got something from the Russian space program that Dean, while he was over, I think he was in South Africa at the time, got approached by somebody who actually was Princess Diana's best friend, Dr. James Coulthurst. And he shared his device with us. And it was basically, they can't use medicine in space. So, because they use, they recycle their urine for fluid and everybody would be on meds. So they had to figure out how can they allow the body to heal itself. So they grabbed the meridians and basically mapped out the body and figured it out. Well, as fast as that worked, this device works a little bit faster with some things because it goes directly from the infrared that we're emitting from our body and it goes right back into the system to fire on certain peptides and certain things like the mitochondria, whatever it needs to do. And that's how effective it is. And I tell you what, the good thing about this, as opposed to having a device that I had to personally go and treat somebody with, I could duplicate myself a million times by just sending these out through the mail. And so that's an excellent thing we have to do. Otherwise, I had to put together a group of docs in every NBA city and cover the NBA players that way. But this way, everybody can do it in 84 countries right now. And it's been amazing results. And we're not looking back. The future's bright with this company. David Schmidt keeps on. He's like Willy Wonka. He's making his things in his at his location. He's pumping out these products that give us 20 years of us only with patents to surround it and the studies to support it, and we're ready to go. So it's a beautiful future.
That's great. Well, thanks, Dr. Tory. Thanks for that input. Dean, thanks for that input. We're going to move on to these testimonies real quick, guys, because y'all want to hear these testimonies. We've got some great stories for you tonight to even validate further that the X39 and the X49 patch is for every athlete in the world, not just in America. The first guy I want to bring on is a friend of mine, Isaac Miller from Searcy, Arkansas. Isaac he's a student at Harding University, where he's a two-sport athlete. He played on the 2023 Division II National Champion Harding Buffaloes football team, and now he's transitioned in his senior year to track and field. So, Isaac, tell these guys what has happened with you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I got on the patches August 10th last year, and all the things he was talking about, not underplaying any of these, but the sleep, the stamina, the energy, I felt that pretty quickly, which was a blessing. But when I started the patches, I was 185 pounds, 6% body fat. And just the only thing I changed was patching. And in 4 weeks, I was 193 pounds, 3.3% body fat. So I thought that was amazing because I've always been, the skinny little receiver out there trying to put on muscle. And as an athlete, you have unfortunate things happen to you sometimes. And 4 weeks ago, I had a little freak accident in the long jump pit, just tore my hamstring, unlucky step. But I started patching right on it, just started slapping them on my hamstring. And 4 days, I was running 80% speed after patching. And then 1 week, it was about 7.5 days, I was 100% speed. And rewind 2 years ago in spring ball, when I did that took me 6 weeks to fully be back to 100%. And the only thing I changed was the patches. I was cupping, ice bathing, dry needling, everything I could do. And I'm on an animal-based diet. I'm always cold plunging, grounding, trying to do everything to get a little extra edge. And this is it. This really is it. That's why they call it that team. But if you're an athlete or a non-athlete, like you got to give this 6 months to a year and just watch what it does for your body because it's amazing. It just activates your body to get all the stuff going.
Hey, well, I know there's something else with, wasn't it with your shoulder? I don't quite remember. You had an injury. You overcame something too, though. Tell everybody that real quick too, from
Yes,
football.
sir. I've had 5 upper body injuries from my sophomore year of high school through about a year and a half ago, and it's just been lingering pain. I can't really bench press more than 135 pounds, and I think it was a month after of patching with the 39 and 49. I repped out 225 for 11 reps, and I was like, "What the heck? That hasn't happened for a long time." Which isn't like crazy or anything, but for me that was awesome. And then I got no pain, mobility. I have a plate still on my shoulder, and it doesn't bother me when I put like a heavy backpack on. So it's awesome.
That's great, Isaac. Well, thanks for sharing that testimony tonight. You're an incredible athlete, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days. So, guys, next story we're going to hear from is Dante Brooks, who's actually the son of Dr. Tory Brooks. He's got an amazing story. This young man's an elite basketball player. Dante, you with us?
Hello, can you hear me?
There he is. Go for it, Dante. Tell us your story.
All right. Hello, I'm Dante Brooks. I'm 19 years old and I'm an athlete. So here, we got some before and after pictures, using the patches. So I started using the patches in December of 2023. And so, as an athlete, I work out all the time, sometimes upwards of 3 times a day. And, that can be really taxing on the body. So here we have a before and an after. Me working out every single day, I couldn't seem to get rid of this excess like fat or, build that muscle that I was really wanting to build. And so after using the patches, a couple months after using the patches, I just started realizing like I was getting a lot more lean. I was building muscle a lot easier than when I wasn't using the patches at all. My eating schedule, eating regimen, everything was kind of the same. The only thing that changed is I used the X49 and X39, and I mean you could see the difference there. So that was a big game changer for me. Another thing is that I noticed is within my workouts, I'm like, usually you get tired because you're working so intense. I was realizing like, man, I'm really not getting as winded as I normally do whenever I would work out without these patches. That and on top of just the recovery and not being sore for as long afterwards. And sometimes, I mean, I barely get sore anymore using these patches. It's really a game changer for an athlete. Another one that's more kind of personalized to me is I've lived with asthma for basically my whole entire life. I would be bedridden for like 2 weeks. My mom would have to take care of me, and it would get really bad, especially around allergy season. I just feel like I got a boulder on my chest. And so one month I had a basketball tournament and we were going to Texas to play in front of a whole bunch of college coaches. And I started getting that boulder feeling on my chest. I'm like, oh man, I can't, having asthma right now isn't really the plan. So my mom saw that and we did a little patching protocol for asthma. And it was so she puts it where the patches tell her to put them. And like instantly it was like a boulder was like lifted off of my chest, and my asthma, I mean, ever since that day, I've never had asthma. Now I like to do things like run. I'm gonna go on a run after this. I know it's late, but you know, kind of I like running. I didn't know I liked that before because my asthma. So yeah, that's awesome. I had no asthma anymore. And then lastly, I would say the allergies bit. Ever since I was 13, every day I would take allergy pills, which isn't very good for your body. So ever since taking these patches, my allergies lessened like significantly, and I just I don't take allergy pills anymore. So the patches have done a lot for me. So Thank you.
That's fantastic, Dante. Thanks for sharing that powerful story with everybody. You're an amazing athlete, and it's an amazing story. Love that transformation.
Thank you.
Guys, with our last story, we're actually going to go to my third son, TJ McDaniel, who lives out in Tempe, Arizona right now. So, TJ, jump on here and tell these guys your story and what's happened with you.
Yeah, so hey guys, I'm TJ McDaniel. As you know, my dad introduced me earlier. I am a former Division I running back for the SMU Mustangs and also a men's online one-on-one transformation coach. So I help men transform inside and out through nutrition and fitness. And you know, when it comes to my athletes, I get every single one of my guys on this to maximize results. It's just something that's a must. If it's one thing that you're going to get on, you're getting on patches. So right now, I started really using the patches whenever I was at SMU. It was my senior year. My parents just kind of placed these in front of me and, you know, gave me direction on how to use it. So I just started using them, not really knowing what they were. And I was feeling results from really from the get-go. You know, after 18 years of taking hits and going through workouts and practices every single day, you know, year after year, you feel the soreness, and you know what that soreness feels like day after day. So after wearing these patches, the first thing I noticed was my soreness was gone. I could go into the next day and I would feel absolutely zero soreness. And you know, with putting my body and pushing my body to the limits every single day, you usually have a little ounce of soreness, but when you can put these patches on and not feel an ounce of soreness, you know that it's true and you can really believe it. So now I wear the X39 and the 49 every single day. But my biggest story is really when I was at Northern Arizona, I had dislocated my toe after the first game against Arizona. I dislocated my toe and I tore my plantar plate. So I had zero power that I was able to produce out of my big toe. I wasn't even able to walk. I was literally walking flat-footed on my right foot because I could not go heel to toe. And they told me that I needed to go get surgery. I was gonna, you know, rehab till basically March, and at March we were gonna then start doing, you know, like real rehab and start running and everything of that nature. And I looked at these guys and I was like, okay, I appreciate your advice. I'm gonna like go my way, and you know, I'll see you in a few weeks. So, lo and behold, I came back 5 weeks later. I was running at full speed. I was cutting at full speed, and I was running over people and getting in the end zone. And all my orthopedics that I was working with were like, dude, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, just keep doing it because it's working. So, you know, after all of this, I had no other choice but to leave the product because of everything it's done for me. And I just decided to work the business because why not? It was in the line of work that I was doing anyway. So if I could get the results that I was getting myself and actually give these to my athletes as well, then it was the best case scenario. So now I have all my athletes on it to maximize results. And at the end of the day, like all my guys are winning. Their bodies are changing, and everyone that I put the patches on loves it. So why not share? And it's that easy of a business to share, which I think is the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from this is like you feel the results, you know exactly what you're getting. And whenever you get to tell people what you're feeling and everything you're going through, it just makes it that easy to share because you're like, dude, this is a life changer. I don't know how else to explain this to you, but it changes your life. And like I was literally talking to the front desk lady at my gym today that I actually got on the patches. And she was like, one of my friends was asking me about it yesterday, and I didn't even know how to like really respond to her. I just told her it changed my life. And, you know, from there, I was like, just get them on the phone with me. I'll tell them how it can change their life too. And she's like, okay, sounds good. So, you know, it's just an easy business to share. And if it's that easy and it is that affordable of a price to change someone's life, it's a no-brainer.
That's great, TJ. I love it. Thanks for sharing your story tonight. You're awesome. Told you that probably thousands of times. But I'll tell you that again. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing your testimony with these guys. So guys, you know, I'm gonna wrap things up so that, you know, you really, you know what that next step is, because we've got what everybody needs, and it's the most proprietary thing on the planet, and it's a life changer. So it puts us in a blue ocean market. That means market share dollars. That means people can capitalize on those market share dollars who want to share with their friends, share with their family. And if you're at an institution, just use it, just be a professional and get it for the people that will to change your athletes' lives. Like that's the responsible thing to do. You're not going to get hounded. There's none of that going to happen. You're just going to do the right thing. You're going to do the right thing for your athletes. I mean, if I was a trainer at an institution, or if I was the head football coach at an institution, I would not let, if there's any money in the program, it's going into getting these 2 patches for my players, because that's going to put my players on the court, on the field, on the track, and keep them at their peak performance and rejuvenating, recovering faster than any other human beings that we're competing against, because they're not on the patch. That's how important this is. So you're really looking at the right company, the right leadership, the right field leadership, the right product, the right systems, the right timing. This is like Apple 1999, when the first home computer came out. And you just got to ask yourself, do I want to be a part of something like that? Well, here's how you can get the patch. There's 3 ways. One is a retail customer pays $150 a month for this. We don't sell many retail customers because most people commit to 90 days to 6 months, because the patch works. It's clinically proven that it works for everybody, every time, if you wear it each and every day and stay consistent. 97% of the people that wear this patch for 90 days see noticeable results in the first 90 days. Some people get wows in the first 10 minutes to 5 days, but 97% are going to see noticeable results in the next 90 days. 3% may not. They're still getting results. It just may be working on things internally that they don't know is happening, and then those noticeable results will come. This patch is prolific. And so you want to give it a commitment. That's why we don't sell many retail customers for 30 days, because you want to commit to at least 90 days. A preferred customer could get on this patch for wholesale at $99.95 and get on a monthly subscription. It's called a preferred customer. But the best deal is to become a brand partner, because you don't even have to pay a fee to get these patches, in a not even a bulk order, and get the patches and get a business spot in case you ever want to share this with your loved ones, because most people do. Once you see the miracles that happen with you and your loved ones, it's hard not to tell your family. It's hard not to tell the people that you love, because it's that life-changing. We're not talking about the next supplement. We're not talking about some skincare. We're talking about a life-altering patch, because it truly is. The core enrollment kit here is 3 sleeves of patches. That's 90 days worth for $295. That's $98.50 a piece. You can get a better price break with advanced. That's the equivalent of 6 sleeves for $89.50 a piece. And that advanced really opens up the whole compensation plan in the business. And then the premium package is if you wanted to buy it in bulk. And that's getting your first 20 sleeves for $87.50 a piece. And it gives you a 3-month credit on your monthly subscription too, if you're doing any kind of auto ship. So it's an amazing enrollment package.